Okay, so here's the thing nobody tells you. You finally hit $10,000 in savings. You did it. You're supposed to feel, I don't know, accomplished, relieved, like you won at adulting, but instead, you're sitting there staring at your bank account going, now what? Because all the advice stops at save $10,000 for emergencies. That's the finish line everyone talks about. But what they don't tell you is that $10,000 isn't actually the finish line. It's more like the starting line for a completely different race, and nobody gives you a map for that part. So you're stuck with this weird mix of pride and confusion. Like, cool, I have $10,000. Should I keep saving, start investing, pay off debt, buy something nice? What's the actual smart move here? That's what I want to talk about today. Not the motivational, you can do it stuff. The real, practical, okay, you did it. Now what the hell are you supposed to do with it? Stuff. First thing first, don't touch it. I know that sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people hit $10,000 and immediately start justifying reasons to spend it. I've been so responsible. Maybe I deserve a vacation. My car's kind of old. Maybe I should upgrade. I could finally get that couch I've been wanting. And look, I get it. Saving $10,000 is hard. It takes discipline. It takes sacrifice. And when you finally get there, your brain wants a reward. But here's the truth. That $10,000 isn't sitting there to make you feel good. It's sitting there to protect you when life goes sideways. According to the Federal Reserve's latest data from 2025, 55% of adults now have at least 3 months of expenses saved. That's up from previous years, which is good. But that also means 45% of people still don't. And if you're in that 55%, you're not guaranteed to stay there unless you protect what you've built. So rule number 1, the $10,000 stays untouched unless it's an actual emergency. And no, a good sale on a TV is not an emergency. Second, make sure that money is actually working for you. If your $10,000 is sitting in a regular checking account earning basically nothing, you're losing money to inflation. Right now, and I'm talking January 2026 data here, the best high-yield savings accounts are offering somewhere between 4% and 5% APY. Some places like Vero Bank and Adelphi are at 5%. Others like Open Bank and Peak Bank are around 4.20%. Let's do the math real quick. $10,000 at 0.01%, regular savings account, equals $1 a year. $10,000 at 4.5%, high-yield savings, equals $450 a year. That's $450 in free money just for moving your cash to a better account. Same money, same risk. You're just letting it sit somewhere smarter. Now, inflation in 2025 was running around 3%, and economists expect it'll be somewhere between 2.2% and 3.8% through 2026. So even at 4.5%, you're barely keeping up with inflation. You're not making your money grow. You're just protecting it from shrinking. But that's the point. This is your emergency fund. It's not supposed to make you rich. It's supposed to be there when you need it. And in the meantime, it should at least hold its value. So if you haven't already, move that $10,000 into a high-yield savings account today. Like, pause this video and do it. It takes 20 minutes. All right, now here's where it gets interesting. Once you've got that $10,000 locked down in a high-yield account, you've got a decision to make. Do you keep saving more in cash, or do you start doing something else with your money? And this is where everyone's situation is different. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but here's how to think about it. If you have high-interest debt, like credit card debt, pay that off first. I'm serious. This is non-negotiable. The average American with credit card debt owes about $7,300 as of 2025, according to LendingTree. And credit card interest rates right now, they're insane. We're talking 18%, 22%, sometimes 28%. So let's say you have $5,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest, and you've also got $10,000 sitting in a savings account earning 4.5%. Every year, that credit card debt is costing you $1,000 in interest. Meanwhile, your savings is making you $450. So you're losing $550 a year just by not paying off the card. That's stupid. Don't do that. Now, I'm not saying drain your entire emergency fund to pay off debt. You still need that cushion. But once you hit $10,000, any extra money you save should go toward killing that high-interest debt before you do anything else. Once the credit card debt is gone, then you can start thinking about other moves. Student loans are a little different. If you've got federal student loans, the average balance in 2025 was around $39,000, according to Education Data Initiative. But student loan interest rates are usually lower than credit cards. somewhere between 4% and 7%, depending on when you took them out. So here's the question. Do you aggressively pay those down? Or do you invest your extra money instead? And honestly, it depends. If your student loan rate is 5% and you can earn 7% to 10% by investing in index funds, mathematically, you're better off investing. But that's assuming the market cooperates. There's no guarantee. On the other hand, being debt-free has a psychological benefit that's hard to quantify. Some people would rather pay off the loans and have that weight lifted. Even if it's not the optimal financial move, it might be the right move for you. This is where personal finance gets personal, okay? So let's say you've got your $10,000 emergency fund secure and you don't have any high-interest debt. Or maybe you paid it off. Now you can start thinking about investing. And before you ask, no, you don't need to be rich to invest. You don't need $50,000 or $100,000. You can start with as little as $100 if you want. The most common place people start is a Roth IRA. The IRS just updated the limits for 2026, and you can now contribute up to $7,500 a year if you're under 50, or $8,600 if you're 50 or older. And the best part about a Roth IRA is that you put in after-tax money now, but when you retire, you can take it out tax-free. There are income limits, though. If you're single and make more than $153,000 a year, you can't contribute the full amount. For married couples, it's $242,000. But most people don't have to worry about that. If you don't have a Roth IRA yet, and you're sitting on $10,000 in cash, open one. Even if you just throw $500 in there to start, you can always add more later. Now, here's where people get paralyzed. Okay, but what do I actually invest in? And this is where the finance world loves to overcomplicate things. They'll talk about stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, sectors, allocations, rebalancing, blah, blah, blah. Ignore all that. If you're just starting out, the simplest and smartest move is to buy a low-cost index fund. Something like Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTI, or the S&P 500 Index Fund, VOO. These funds basically own a tiny piece of hundreds or thousands of companies, so you're instantly diversified. If a few companies tank, it doesn't wreck you. And historically, over the long term, the stock market returns about 10% a year. Now, that doesn't mean it goes up 10% every year. Some years it's up 20%. Some years it's down 15%. But over 10, 20, 30 years, it averages out to around 10%. Vanguard's 2026 outlook is actually a little more conservative. They're projecting U.S. stock returns around 4% to 5% annually over the next 5 to 10 years, which is lower than historical averages, but still better than leaving your money in a savings account after you've maxed out your emergency fund. The key is, you're not trying to get rich quick. You're trying to build wealth slowly over time. Here's the thing people don't realize about investing. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 30, and you average a 7% return, which is conservative, by the time you're 60, you'll have over $600,000. That's not because you're a genius. That's just because you started early and let compound interest do its thing. But if you wait until you're 40 to start investing that same $500 a month, you'll only have around $250,000 by 60. Same monthly investment, same return. But starting 10 years later cuts your final number by more than half. Time is the most powerful tool you have when it comes to money. And the only way to take advantage of it is to start now. Alright, so let's say you've done all this. You've got your $10,000 emergency fund. You've paid off high-interest debt. You've opened a Roth IRA and started investing. What's next? Some people ask if they should keep piling more money into savings. Like, should you go for $15,000? $20,000? And the answer is maybe. If your job is unstable, or you're self-employed, or you've got a lot of people depending on you financially, then yeah, having 6 months of expenses saved instead of 3 months makes sense. That'd be closer to $20,000 for most people. But if your income is stable, and you've already got that 3-month cushion, adding more to cash savings is probably not the smartest move. Because remember, inflation is still eating away at it. You're not making real gains. At that point, you're better off investing the extra money so it can actually grow. One more thing I want to mention, don't hire a financial advisor yet. I know. There's this idea that once you have real money, you need a professional to manage it. But here's the truth, most people don't need a financial Advisor until their net worth hits $250,000 to $500,000, or their situation gets really complicated, like they're dealing with estate planning, or they own a business, or they've got multiple income streams and complex taxes. If you've got $10,000 and you're just starting to invest, you don't need to pay someone 1% of your assets every year to tell you to buy index funds. You can figure that out yourself. Financial advisors typically charge between $200 and $400 an hour for one-time consultations, or $2,500 to $9,000 a year for ongoing advice. That's not worth it when you're just getting started. Save your money. Learn the basics yourself. There are free resources everywhere. YouTube, Reddit's personal finance communities, books like The Simple Path to Wealth or The Bogglehead's Guide to Investing. Once your financial situation gets more complex, then you can consider hiring someone. But not yet. Okay, real talk for a second. I know this all sounds like a lot. You finally hit $10,000, and now I'm telling you there's a whole other list of things to do. It can feel overwhelming. But here's the thing. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to max out your Roth IRA this year. You don't have to have the perfect investment strategy. You don't have to become a financial expert overnight. You just have to keep moving forward. Start with the easy stuff. Move your emergency fund to a high-yield savings account. If you have credit card debt, make a plan to pay it off. Open a Roth IRA, even if you only put $50 in it at first. Small steps. Consistent progress. That's how you build wealth. Because here's what I've realized. The people who end up financially secure aren't the ones who made perfect decisions. They're the ones who made good enough decisions and stuck with them. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The economy in 2026 is still kind of weird. Inflation's bouncing around between 2% and 3%. Interest rates are still high. The stock market's been volatile. Everything feels expensive. But you know what? It's always something. There's always a reason to wait. There's always uncertainty. The people who wait for the perfect time to start investing never start. The perfect time doesn't exist. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. So here's my advice if you just hit $10,000. First, lock down that $10,000 in a high-yield savings account. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because in a crisis, it kind of does. Second, if you have high-interest debt, tackle that next. Don't let credit card companies take your hard-earned money. Third, open a Roth IRA and start investing, even if it's just a tiny amount. The power of time is on your side, but only if you start. Fourth, keep learning. Personal finance isn't one and done. It's an ongoing thing. But the good news is, you've already done the hardest part. You saved $10,000. That's the mountain most people never climb. Everything after this? It's easier. Because now you've got momentum. You've proven to yourself that you can save. You've built the discipline. You've created the habits. Now you're just optimizing and growing what you've already started. And that's honestly the secret nobody talks about. Financial success isn't about making one perfect decision. It's about making decent decisions consistently over time. It's boring. It's not sexy. You can't make a viral video about it, but it works. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You're not trying to beat Wall Street. You're not trying to time the market. You're just trying to build a stable financial life so you're not constantly stressed about money. And trust me, once you get to that place where money stops being a daily source of anxiety, that's worth more than any investment return. So yeah, you hit $10,000. Congratulations. Seriously, that's a big deal. But don't stop here. This is where the real work begins. The work of making that money grow, of protecting it, of building on it, and you're absolutely capable of doing it. Because if you can save $10,000, you can do the next steps too. It's the same skill set, the same discipline, just applied differently. All right, I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. If you found this helpful, great. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer what I can. And if this video helped you see what to do after hitting $10,000, consider subscribing. I make videos like this pretty regularly. Not the hype stuff. Not the get-rich-quick nonsense. Just honest, practical advice about how money actually works for normal people. Because honestly, most of us just need someone to break this stuff down without the jargon and the judgment. That's what I'm trying to do here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck with your $10,000 and everything that comes after it. You've got this. See you in the next one.